These bridges carry dozens of Norfolk Southern trains a day through Butler County. This one handles CSX trains through a populated neighborhood near downtown Hamilton. But a review of inspection reports indicate the substructures for these 4 bridges are considered in poor condition by the Butler County Engineer's Office. We toured these sites and found major cracks and other issues, with some dating as far back as 1911. Stones and other debris routinely fall off, especially this one crossing Hamilton Mason Road, threatening or even hitting cars passing underneath. Butler County Engineer Greg Wilkins says he is not required to inspect these bridges, which are actually owned by the railroads. He sends any problematic reports off to these companies, but rarely, if ever, hears anything back, and that the railroads are difficult to deal with.
It's nearly impossible. We've had about probably one of the strongest letters I've ever written out of this office went to the CEO of CSX, because they just blatant don't care. I'll be honest with you. I mean, from our standpoint.
Bad bridges weren't the cause of the massive train derailment in East Palestine earlier this year, but that accident refocused attention on all aspects of train safety. That includes the state of train bridges, which are owned by railroad companies as opposed to publicly owned highway bridges. U.S. Senator Sherrod Brown last month asked Ohio's major railroads to list all bridges in the state and the condition of each. More than a month and a half later, he's still waiting.
My patience is running out. More importantly, the patience of a lot of communities, activists and mayors and council people and all is running out too. That they need Norfolk Southern to do their job. They own these bridges, they own these rails through communities. Every city in the state of any size has rail running through it, and they've got to do their jobs better than they have.
Data and reports on these bridges is kept by the Federal Railroad Administration, but is not available to the public. The only way Local 12 Investigates got a sense of the deteriorating conditions of Butler County's bridges were through the inspection reports issued by Wilkins' office. I asked U.S. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg about the situation. Do you think that the federal government should start having an inventory of these bridges made publicly available that could look at the conditions of these even though they're privately held?
Certainly open to that. We would need to make sure we have the resources to do that because these are typically in private hands. But we've got to make sure that we're doing everything possible to improve railroad safety.
I also tried getting information about these and other bridges from the railroads themselves. I emailed and called CSX and Norfolk Southern, which operated the train that derailed in East Palestine several times over the last month. Norfolk Southern owns 3 of the bridges listed in poor condition in Butler County. I traded emails 8 times with company representatives over the last month and a half. The company got back to me with a response shortly after noon Thursday, saying Butler County's inspections were not by a rail bridge engineer. Norfolk Southern also said it has invested $100 million in Ohio bridges over the last 5 years. In a statement, the company said, in the next 5, we anticipate more than $240 million in bridge projects in the state, many of which are referenced in recent reports. CSX declined on-camera interviews, issuing a statement saying it inspects all its bridges at least once a year, and track structures are monitored and inspected weekly. The company said CSX meets or exceeds regulatory and legal mandates. Cosmetic blemishes do not indicate that a railroad bridge is unsafe. CSX also owns and maintains this long iron bridge over Richardson Road and Banklick Creek in southern Kenton County, but would not answer specific questions about its condition, nor the one in Hamilton. Vicki White grew up here and drives under several times a month to visit her parents. The bridge worries her so much, she speeds up when she goes underneath. White's also looked for answers on the condition of the bridge to no avail.
I don't mean or want to be crying wolf or anything like that about it, but at the same time, I've looked at this for over 55 years now. We have toxic chemicals going over this bridge, and we can't even inspect it? That's a problem. That's a huge problem.
James Pilcher, Local 12 News.
From breaking news to feel-good stories, Local 12 has it all. Tap subscribe and hit the links to find out more.